There we go.
We're broken.
Yay.
Yay! Hi.
Alright, this is second episode of our wonderful On the Lam live stream. We've got Andrew Mayer joining us today from Rolling All Ones. He's going to be painting a Dark Knight female for the studio. We've got Rinoa Page joining us once again. She'll be doing some art. We haven't quite decided what yet.
I think it's going to be trying.
Alex Page, who appears to have fallen into some sort of horrible closet.
I'm going to be making leather dice bags.
Leather dice bags? Awesome.
Yep.
You are lagging a bit, just so you know.
I don't know how to fix that.
And then we have the disembodied voice of Patrick Keith.
Hi, on the Lammers.
Patrick is the wonderful SculptDude and does all of our best miniatures. We love him and hope he will continue to work for us forever.
Well, I've got a big stack of art that I am working through, so it's going to be a while, yeah.
All right, so Noah, what are you doing?
So I'm actually right now I'm just pulling up some references for Train, and I'm going through your emails that you had sent me. Let's see, you said you have an attached rough.
Yeah, it was in one of the emails somewhere. Should have been that same like.
Oh, weird. Ooh. Is that Alex?
Yeah, that was
What
Alex.
did I do?
Okay, it was in the first email that's just references with an exclamation point.
I see it. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I love this one. I love this piece. So it's like Train's the cousin.
Yeah,
right?
a phrase. Yeah.
Phrase. Yeah. Oh, cool. I love that this is for people who are watching who don't know. Whenever I do work for Emily, I always give her several options to work from, and occasionally that turns into, instead of them just picking one and going with that, they end up picking one and going with that, but also saying, we also want this other option for this other character or for this other project or whatever. So for all those beginning illustrators out there, it doesn't hurt to offer options.
The set of phrase roughs that you had done.
Mm-hmm.
Blown up there. And then somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, stop that. This is way too many buttons I have to click through to get the screen share to work right.
Oh, I'm sure.
There we go. And then so, that was what we decided on for Frace's cousin, Train Deepwell, who will be one of the main players in the Gaiden DLC that we are fulfilling the Kickstarter of.
Yay!
That's really cute.
So, Emily.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a second. I'm seeing on the thumbnail you've got the close-up I did of the outfit and the color scheme, but also a pose. You want him to be standing in that position?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
go with that outfit and that pose.
And then also, what kind of sword do you imagine him wielding? Is it like a rapier or more like a broadsword?
Probably like a long sword.
A long sword of some kind.
Andrew, we lost your video.
Oh, no worries. I'm just doing some readjustments.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let's see. Well, I'm going to boot up Photoshop because now I have my reference. We're going to get this going.
There
we go.
Try to get this to.
And that's right. I can control if I'm showing my
screen share
screen.
is the little green button on the left-hand side.
All right. Like the content of your screen. Okay, this one. Share it. And don't be too horrified at my desktop. It is constantly a nightmare.
Noah,
Oh, it's cool.
have you
They
looked at my desk here? I mean,
I know, right? I think it's like an occupational hazard of creatives to just constantly be like just swimming through a pile of stuff.
I will clean this up eventually, in the fullness of time. Don't touch anything; it's organized.
Right?
Exactly.
No, you've read Azumanga Daioh, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the strip with Miss Yukari when she it shows a picture of her desk, and gosh, it's been so long since I read it. I'm forgetting the name of her counterpart, the gym teacher character.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either at the moment.
Well, she comes in and she's like, "Oh my gosh, your desk is insane. Like, I need my dictionary back." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, here you go." And she pulls out the dictionary, and it's like pulling out a domino, and her whole desk just falls apart. And she gets so mad about it. It's like, "I had it all organized, and you screwed it up." Let's see. There's the oh.
Let's see.
For those of you who don't know what I am cutting into a cowhide, and it's like natural vegetables canned, pretty raw stuff. I'm going to be dyeing it and stamping it to make it look good on the one side for this.
So while Andrew is painting one of these to not look like crap, I'm doing the demo model.
Perfect, perfect.
If I can get this camera to actually be somewhere moderately useful.
Yeah, mine is unfortunately going to be a little bit inverted. I'm broadcasting from Australia today.
From Australia?
That's
Are you
awesome.
normally in Australia?
No, he's just upside down.
Oh.
Everything is upside down.
Jokes. Let's see.
All right, Andrew, I'm going to have to send you a picture of how I'm managing to do this because it's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, dear.
You know those like little like magnifying glass things that have alligator clips on them?
Mhm.
I'm holding the web camera up with that.
Mine is currently held on by about 2 feet of masking tape and a little bit of duct tape.
Nice. Unfortunately,
my
mine
laptop.
doesn't seem to want to focus correctly on something this close to it.
My laptop is just laying in the bed, and it's hope and prayers that are keeping it up there.
Hope and prayers are always good for expensive things.
John, it's John. Okay.
One of
So, Emily, as you may know, I have a tendency to like to experiment with different styles and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to do my best to emulate, because it's Phrase's cousin, obviously. I want them to look like they match and go together.
Sure.
But I'm also looking a bit at some Capcom art for inspiration. And I love how they handle the coloring in this piece in particular. Not all their stuff is great, but in particular, this Chun-Li illustration I love, just like the thick, dark outlines and the way that they do like this kind of like painterly approach on the interior. Someday I'll be this talented, but in the meantime, we've got this. So let's get this party started finally. File, new. Yeah, we'll start with a 5x5. Maybe go up to 6x6. Actually, yeah, let's go to 6x6. So how do you guys feel about music?
As long as
Oh,
it's
I have.
not copyrightable. I just don't want to get the YouTube content aware thing.
Content ID thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Alex about this last night, and I was saying like, because on Twitch streaming, sometimes I'll get burned. And not burned, that's too strong a word, but basically, like on Twitch streaming, what they do, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but they'll just mute your volume on your video, which kind of ruins your Twitch stream. But I mean, it is what it is. It's better than getting legal action or just having your channel shut down.
Yeah. That's what YouTube does too. Is they'll just mute the entire audio of the video.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a pain. So I don't know. It's tough because I know, like, on Twitch streams, like video game music tends to be cool just by the nature of Twitch being a platform where people do Let's Plays. Like, you're going to hear the soundtrack to video games, and it would be just ridiculous to try and content ID that kind of stuff. But I don't know how YouTube handles that kind of stuff, if we would be in the clear with video game music, or if that would be problematic, or what about, like, remixes? There's a lot of remixes out there.
Yeah, it's gonna depend a lot on like who put it out, if they submitted it to YouTube to have it come up like that. Like Nintendo, all their stuff is flaggable.
Is it really?
Yeah. Because they did a whole partner with Nintendo to be able to do Let's Plays and stuff. Otherwise, they just take all the videos down.
Just yeah.
So, but stuff like chiptunes or indie game music, probably even like Bamco, maybe Capcom stuff, would be fine.
Well, not this stream, but maybe the next one. We should work together to pull together some sort of playlist going.
Yeah. Figure out what we're doing.
I actually had the soundtrack to Mirror's Edge playing really, really quietly, so I don't think you guys can hear it, and hopefully it won't pick up in the video, but...
No, I don't hear it.
So
Your camera isn't as good as Noah's.
It's true. Oh, actually, I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm planning... Like, my computer is pretty old, despite the fact that it seems to have amazing audio quality. I guess that's the benefits of Macs or something like that. Maybe I just have a super Mac. But it is a 2008 Mac, and so I mean that was 8 years ago, and it runs okay, but like
that was 8 years ago. Fuck, I'm old.
I know. Don't panic too much. Hey,
Yeah?
So on my screen, if you can see, I'm just realizing that because this was Train. Why is his name Train, by the way? Because you're always so good with like puns and references and stuff like that. Is there a reason? Is there some sort of punny thing that I'm missing with that? Like, is he a trainer kind of a character, or?
Honestly, I don't know. That was all Matt doing that. So.
Well, at any rate, I'm just looking at his pose, and I'm thinking like his feet are basically in the same way or position as Frace's are,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering if maybe what we should do is just mirror it. Here, I'll show you.
Sure.
Transform horizontal. And that way, when they're like standing next to each other, it kind of has this feeling of them being back to back. I'm assuming they're going to be like allies of some form. Like we're not dealing with.
Well,
They're not a secret
when,
villain, are they?
no. Well, depends on what you consider villainy. I mean,
Sure.
when Frace went off to fight the miasma, in the Miasma War campaign, he left Deepwell behind, and so Train stepped in his place, and is working on it. There's a bit of a civil war going on because Frace disappeared at some point, and he's been gone for some amount of point in time, and so Train is one of the players stepping in to take over Deepwell, and there is another cousin from Zutenheim who is going up against him as well. But Train's the more important one.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys can see my lovely assistant. Her name is Cece.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a good spot.
Andrew, do you have a cat?
I do not, thankfully.
Okay. Well, you're gonna need to get a cat.
Yeah.
No, I am not a
Or a dog.
That's a requirement for the stream. Everybody else has cats, so
We have a family dog floating around somewhere who acts like a cat.
that's close.
Right.
Yep, not even joking. Lays around all day, sleeps, doesn't want anything to do with you, and then wants everything to do with you.
Sounds like a cat.
I didn't think such dogs existed. I figured all dogs were just super excited to see you 100% at the time.
Nope, he is a very, very peculiar little puppy.
What kind?
I believe, and he was kind of an adoption, like long story made short. Brother brought him home one day. He is at least part Shiba and part German Shepherd.
Oh, that's so cute.
That sounds really cute.
That's a
If
great.
he ever floats around here, because occasionally he comes and visits, I'll have to give him a little bit of screen time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that. Shibas are so adorable because they look like little foxes. And you know, like they just. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, well, sometimes I'm going to talk art a little bit, just to fill the stream. Sometimes I'll just jump straight into drawing bodies, but today, it depends on the day. But today, right now, I feel like actually working out the skeleton of this pose. And so you see, like, you get the general rib cage shape along with here's the pelvis, and then the legs with the femurs, and here's the, oh gosh, my Anna, I know what they are. I know how to draw them, but now I can't remember what they're called. What's I want to call it radial and ulna, but that's in the arm. Elle, help me. You went to art school. What are bones in your lower leg called? The two of them.
Tibia, fibia? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
The femurs on top. Yep.
Mhm. And that's just I would do this with every figure, especially not because like majority of the artwork I do is comics, and in comics you draw like a bazillion figures. It would just take too long. But because I want the structure of this character, because it's concept art and because it's really important to get it right, I'm taking a little more time and making sure that I understand the general framework of the pose and the character and all that kind of stuff.
And I have just cut 3 strips of leather because I'm making 3 bags. These will be the bottom wraps. They're a little bit thicker than this bag. It's just kind of a different design. So my next step is punching holes in them and stamping them.
Nice.
Layered cut.
So that was your trifecta of cons.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so glad they're over. That was too much. I don't know. How often do you con, Emily? Because I feel like every other weekend I talk to you, you're like, well, prepping for another convention.
Well, usually we end up doing like 4 to 5 a year.
Oh, that's
This year we were only doing 2, and now I'm doing 3, because of the wedding and just save some money and whatnot. But yeah, our last one was April for Adepticon, and our next one is going to be in, I want to say, like 10 weeks at Gen Con,
That's right.
where we'll see you guys.
Yay!
And we'll see Andrew there too, but not Patrick because he hates the place.
Anti-social Patrick.
Just making fun of you, Patrick. It's okay.
Oh, that's fine. Just there's a big group of fun makers, so yeah, I'm used to that. Yeah, well, you're going to ReaperCon with us though, right?
Yeah, in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were planning on only doing Adepticon and Gen Con, but Justin and you talked me into ReaperCon, so.
It's a fun little show. I mean, it's not as big as Adepticon is, and it's real personal, laid back, kind of a thing. So it's I think it'll be fun. This will be the first time we've been back in about 3 or 4 years, I think. So,
aren't you like right around the corner from it too?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I used to go out to the Reaper factory, quite frequently when I was sculpting for them, and I would go out on Thursdays and kind of sit with Kevin and sculpt, and we'd go through mold making and all that type of stuff. So they're about the shop is about an hour from where we are, and then they moved their location of the convention to a hotel it's south of where their factory is. So it's really about 30 minutes for me down the tollway. So I mean, it's a straight shot basically from the house to the hotel where they're having the convention. It takes about 30 minutes to get there. So
nice.
It's very, very convenient. And the last couple of years, even though we didn't attend as Bombshell Miniatures or I wasn't in as sculpting or whatever, I did pop in, for a couple of hours on the days from the last couple of shows just to say hi to the other artists and things and kind of socialize a little bit. So that was kind of nice.
Now, where is that con again? Where are you guys located?
It's actually they hold the convention in Louisville, Texas, which is north of Dallas by about, I want to say it's about 30 miles or so north of Dallas. It's right north of the DFW airport. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So actually, that makes me think about something else. A couple of our friends are thinking about moving to Texas.
Don't do it.
What do you recommend?
Seriously.
It's hot and taxes and Republicans and just don't do it. Yeah.
But Austin is nice, right?
Yeah, it is. It's nice. I can't really speak for all of Texas because I only see sort of the northern part of it most of the
Well,
time.
I can speak for the Houston area. Don't go to the Houston area.
Yeah. Did you spend some time there? Did you live there, Emily? Because I know you're
I was
Florida.
born in Texas.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of
You're
town.
just finding out all kinds of shit today.
That's awesome.
I was there till I was like 8.
And then, did you move for family reasons, for your job, just
Yeah.
Texas, or?
My parents separated, so me and my mom moved to Maine for like 2 years.
To Maine?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And then they got back together, and my dad's job moved him to Louisiana, so we lived there for like a year, and then he got transferred to the Florida plant, and that's where we've been since.
All right.
So who has bigger bugs, Texas or Florida?
Bugs?
Yeah.
We have cicadas here, so
Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
kind of.
Those are
Yeah.
awful. From what I understand, because my wife went to college around Beaumont, which is near Houston. She says that the mosquitoes down there require aircraft carriers in order to land. They're so large. So,
Oh my god.
yeah, they are pretty big.
yeah.
Nothing ever dies.
Well, did my camera ever come back on? Can you guys
No,
see
we have
me?
no visual from you.
No,
Yeah,
you're
no-
still frozen.
No video from me.
You are
Oh,
a
okay.
sculpture.
Let's see if I can get that going.
You may need to like reload it.
I may have to. I'm probably going to wind up having to pop out anyway because I've got to help put some lunch together. But I will be showing the some of the stuff I'm sculpting on tonight. If I'll have my other webcam set up and all of that for my sculpting hangout thing that I'm going to do this evening. So I'll be showing the dragon and the Vikingers. These are the last few pieces that I'm doing for the. I guess it's the miasma.
The Gaiden Kickstarter.
It's the Gaiden Kickstarter. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. The miasma thing was before that.
That was like 2 years ago, Patrick.
Right. Yeah. Well, I can't ever keep it straight.
It's all right.
I
Not
can't
your
even keep my
product.
own Kickstarters straight. Yeah. So it's so much
Also,
stuff.
time is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like time fly. I was talking about video games because a friend of mine's a big gamer. I'm actually visiting him tonight, and we were talking about what were we talking about? The Wii U, and how they're releasing the NX pretty soon here. And I was like, it seems like it's so fast because I feel like the Wii U was just released last year, and he looked at me and he was like, well, it's more like 3 years ago, and I was like, are you kidding me? Has it really been that long?
It still feels really quick. I mean, especially considering like the PlayStation 3 was a 10-year system.
That's true. No, that's a good point. Well, I think all the consoles are kind of scrambling right now, and I'm not super plugged into like video game news and all that kind of thing, but just from what I've heard from my friends who are kind of into that, they're kind of like, consoles are kind of having a rough go of it right now.
They're all turning into gaming computers, really. Like, there's nothing that makes them different other than the exclusives.
Yeah. Which, I mean, when you think about it, kind of makes sense, because that's really all they are. Unlike back in the day when Nintendo had, like, I don't know, peripherals like a freaking robot and stuff like that, you know? Like.
And it used to be you could run games just right out of the box, like, oh, a computer, I'll have to upgrade my hard drive, I'll have to upgrade my CPU, my graphics. You got to go through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Console, you just go, if I plug this cartridge in, it'll work. Nowadays, you don't even get that.
Oh my god, I know, right? Like, I can't believe how ridiculous it is, especially with, like, PS games and stuff like that when they have updates or...
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just wanted to sit down and play this game, and he turns it on, and it's like, there are 72 updates for it, and it'll be ready to play in 3 hours. And it's like, come on.
I want it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, World of Warcraft is kind of like that too. We'd gotten back into playing WoW, I guess about 4 or 5 months ago, and I haven't played it in like a couple of months because I've been so busy with conventions and commission work or whatever. But like the last patch that Vicky downloaded, it was like I had to uninstall and reinstall it, because it wouldn't load it or whatever.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I haven't played WoW since Cataclysm came out, but they keep sending me like, "Hey, you want to come back for free? Here's last expansion."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of people, like, I know they're just like hemorrhaging users. Do you think it's just like, has WoW changed, or is it just there's other stuff out there that's just like better?
I don't know. I find that gamers are pretty fickle. It's like, ooh, new shiny, and they'll go and run off and play that. But I don't think that the gameplay on it is, it doesn't offer the same kind of gamer experience that it used to, and I don't know it's because if they're trying to attract or hold on to a different audience or or what that is. I mean, I really, I'm not into like rating and doing all of the the really interactive type of stuff on it. I basically just kind of enjoy questing and sort of leveling up a character or two and
Sure.
doing that and crafting. That's kind of a diversion. Fishing and that type of stuff. So I'm not
really
really.
loved fishing in WoW. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me.
That's like one of my favorite things to do. Yeah.
I spent so much time trying to get that turtle mount.
Yeah. That's a real popular one.
So like that? And see, do you guys follow any YouTubers like JonTron, Egoraptor, any of those guys?
Matt loves The Best Friends. And
Do Best Friends play? Yeah.
So I've watched that on occasion. Them just failing at playing anything.
I think Best Friends play Resident Evil 6 is the modern brilliance of our time. So good. So good.
It truly is a masterpiece. Yeah. A failure, of course, but
A comedy.
JonTron released a video talking about the vanilla legacy server for WoW, and how Nastarius, I think it was called, and how these guys were just dedicating their time, and they weren't making any money on it or anything like that. They just wanted to play, because WoW isn't like any other game. You can't just plug it in and play it. You need the community.
Right.
But for whatever reason, WoW just doesn't want to do legacy servers, and so there was that big blow up about them shutting down the Nastarius legacy server. That was just run by guys who were just like, we just missed what WoW used to be, and now it's different. And I don't know. Again, as a person who doesn't personally play WoW, I don't feel like I totally have the right to weigh in on this discussion. But it is interesting kind of seeing it from the outside and seeing how Blizzard has changed, especially now that did EA buy Blizzard, or is it?
I think it's Capcom.
It was Activision.
Activision, okay.
Yeah, Activision, Vivendi bought Blizzard, and then I think they sold them at some point.
And it's interesting to see how that company has changed.
Yeah.
From one it was human.
And the game has kind of evolved. I mean, I haven't been playing it very long. I got it at the Lich King thing. Vicky's been playing it since the beta edition came out, and I didn't get in on until later. But I mean, just a little bit that I had played, it evolved from that, and it's very much more of a console type of experience. Is what they're really kind of pushing it towards, and less RPG, which was kind of the thing that I liked about it.
It really surprises me that they haven't announced a console port for it yet, with how much they're simplifying everything and just making it feel like that.
Maybe it's an evolutionary process that's what they're going towards. So eventually, once they do a couple more releases and strip out some more stuff, then it'll be console ready. I don't know.
Yeah, because I play Final Fantasy XIV, which is a very, very WoW-like Final Fantasy game MMO, and that's cross-play between PC and PS4. And I actually play it mostly on the PS4 because I'm lazy as hell and I just want to sit on the couch.
No shame in that. I have to admit, as a person who grew up playing console games, I've never been much of a PC gamer. I've heard of some RTSs, like Orcs and Humans and Warcraft 2 and StarCraft and all that kind of stuff. I do prefer when there are console ports to things, but I don't know. I guess it goes back to what you guys were saying earlier about how there's just that ease of I just plug it in and play it. I don't have to worry about updates. I don't have to worry about this, and now that's kind of changing.
Yeah.
Well, I've never really been. I mean, I was an arcade player, back in the quarter slots, type of era.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm probably the oldest one here in in the discussion.
Patrick, we love you. You are.
My webcam's older.
Oh, is it okay? But I was never really much of a console gamer because I just was so terrible at it. So because I'll get up to like level 2 on something, and then I can't ever get past the thing where it's like you've got to do this badass combo move thing in order to go on to the other level, and I'll get frustrated and I'll quit. So we really only have a PS3 because Vicky wanted to play Skyrim, so I got that for her for Valentine's Day when it came out, and so that's kind of her Skyrim machine. I've gotten on it a couple of times to play things, and I thought, okay, well maybe I'll give it a shot now, and then I'll get up to that level, and then I can't get any further, and it's like, okay, well this is pretty much like what I'm used to, so I just go back to sculpting. So
I feel you.
yep.
And for the longest time, my PS4 was just my my Final Fantasy box, and I just was only playing 14 on it. But there's been a couple of things out recently that I've actually really enjoyed, like Division and Destiny.
Oh, you play Division?
Yeah. I gotta save New York.
You gotta save New York.
Tom Clancy's Zombies.
I was really looking forward to that since they showed the initial E3 trailer years ago.
Mm-hmm. Has it measured up to you? Are you like satisfied with the gameplay experience?
For the most part, I think my main problem with it is just the end game. There really isn't much to it at the moment. But they've got DLC coming out in a few weeks that will add stuff to that.
Sure.
I haven't heard of this game. What's it about?
A virus breaks out during
It's like
Black
Super
Friday.
Polio or something? Yeah.
It's Black Friday in New York. Somebody spreads a virus out because massive amounts of people there. The city gets quarantined and shut down, and you're a elite team of government forces to go and clear out the riffraff and try to bring order to the city. So there's a bunch of different gangs that have formed, like just regular rioters, and then there's these guys called cleaners they're all wearing like fireman suits and carrying flamethrowers because they just want to burn the virus out of the city.
Sure.
So they'll burn down anything that's infected with it, whether they're alive or not. There's people that escape from Rikers, and then there's a military battalion that decided to go their own way.
Okay.
And so you go through various areas of New York, doing missions, and it's kind of an MMO. So like me, Matt, and Tom will usually play together, and we go do small dungeon runs, and the dungeons are basically like going through a mall or the subway. And it's got a bit of third-person, first-person shooter mechanics with a little bit of RPG
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, LG's been playing it like crazy.
Yeah, if you guys get your hands on a PS4, I would love to play with you.
We might be getting our hands on a PS3.
Well, that's good.
Because our friend has 2. And he's like, well, I'm not really using it, so I should just give it to you. And then he keeps not giving it to us, so I don't know.
Just take it
At the same
night.
time, seriously. At the same time, like, we're so busy. Gosh, I still want to play through Shadows of the Colossus, which we started playing through. And we got, I would say, halfway through it. And then life happened. And we just had to, drop it. And that game is what, 15, 20 years old now? I feel like it's been out forever, and I don't know. Every time I think, there's no way that this game is that old, I look it up and I'm like, oh, yep. Well, because it was original PS1 release, right? Or is it PS2?
PS2, I think. Yeah.
It was PS2? Okay. So maybe it's not quite that old.
10 years old.
And maybe someday we'll be the last Guardian.
Well, you've got a Vita, so that's at least somewhat modern.
Yeah,
As a
yeah.
Vita.
Thanks to a certain somebody. That's seriously like the most generous gift I've gotten in quite a while.
Well, when I really want you to play something, I'll just make sure you have to.
The other game we're playing through that's like super old right now, but is also like really good, is Resident Evil 4.
Hmm.
I love that game. It's super scary. Like it's really hard for. We have Alex is on the walkthrough, and she's kind of saying like, okay, coming up, it's gonna be like this many zombies or whatever. And even so, I'm still freaking out the whole time.
Well, hey guys, I wanted to let you know I'm gonna have to pop out, but I appreciate you letting me sit in and
Yeah,
hang
thanks for
out with you
coming and
guys.
hanging out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let me know when you guys do this again, so I can have my other gear set up, and hopefully I can
Sure thing.
participate a little more. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me know when you get a link to your broadcast, and I will make sure to share it in all of our circles as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, well, and I will probably see you tonight, Emily, on the other thing. So,
Sounds good.
all right, well, you guys have fun. Take care.
Thanks, you
Bye.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And then there were 4.
Yes. Which one of us dies next? I mean, Lee.
Who
Well, I
lives?
don't know. I've got an X-Acto knife and a pretty sharp awl, so...
I have a paintbrush.
Yeah,
With
me too.
that,
I'm not cutting myself today, at least.
worlds are destroyed.
You could poison yourself. It would take a while, but...
You just
Anybody got some...
don't
Phthalo
drink the
blue?
pink cup.
Yeah, I've done that a lot.
Avoid the temptation. Yeah.
I think...
Have you really?
Absolutely. I usually have a cup of tea sitting right next to me, and it's in the same kind of mug as my paint water.
And once again, this is why my cup of water is a big water bottle.
I just have a really big teacup.
Impossible mistake.
And needless to say, one day I'm painting, and I wash my brush off, only realizing, oh crap.
That was the tea.
Yep.
So sad.
Every painter has done that. Don't worry.
It is much sadness.
And if they say they haven't, they're not a real painter.
Absolutely.
They're lying.
It does seem like a rite of passage, really.
Licking your brush when you still got paint on it, that's one of my favorites.
Oh, of
I
course.
had to stop my habit of like putting things in my mouth, like a pencil or a tool, when I started working in a vet clinic.
Ooh,
So that'll get you to kick the habit pretty fast.
that'll definitely do it.
I almost always have 2 or 3 mugs sitting by my desk, just because clutter accumulates and like whatever. And there will be different types of liquid in each of my different mugs, and I'm so lazy, or maybe that's not the right word, but I'm just so like impatient that.
You're focused.
Huh? What's that?
You're focused on your
I'm
art.
so focused that I'll be like, what's in here? And to figure it out, I will just literally drink it and be like, find out that way.
Not even give it a sniff?
No, not usually.
That's... Nose is always first.
And now this is why you have health problems.
And now this is why you have problems. Yeah.
Always sniff. Always look.
Yeah, you're not like, who do you think you are, Mulder on the X-Files?
So true.
Swear to God, the first thing that guy said, alien substance, motor oil, drugs, whatever, he tastes it every time. Mulder, you fine, but you stupid.
So now I've got sort of like, I gave the character flesh, so now they're not just a bone person. And now I'm working on the general costume that they're wearing. After this, currently I'm trying to figure out what kind of cape I want them to have, whether I want it to be straight down, kind of like Frace, or if I want it to be kind of the general motion of this piece is like sliding off to the right. So I could also do something where it's like the cape is kind of like, I'd have to move over the canvas over a little bit, but like the cape could be blowing to the right.
And let's see, how much progress have I made? I have put holes in these 3 strips. Weather working. Forever.
Well, it's a little quicker than I'm going. So far, I have.
Yes, progress report.
Oh, and my brush is dropped.
Nope.
Don't bother. But yeah, I'm going through and just putting down 20 different levels of gray. Because I decided to go.
So why are you doing that? Can you talk to that for a second?
Sure. What I'm doing is it's called non-metallic metal. You essentially use gray paints and you blend them really, really finely so that it looks like metal. I'm doing it specifically for this mini because I did a anti-paladin as a commission a couple weeks ago, and the client wanted a really dark, kind of gritty armor, and I really fell in love with it because it just really fit the kind of like fallen warrior or what have you, because it wasn't the knight in shining armor. And no matter how you do metallic paints, they're always going to have that bright gleam.
Yeah.
This way, I can control it and just has a really kind of muted and dark, and also it's a little more challenging. I like doing the gradients. That's one of my favorite parts of painting.
That's
I have it started on the sword here. I think you can see a little bit of it. If I kind of un-Australia it.
When you do a gradient, do you do a wash or do you do a dry brush or a different technique altogether?
I do a glaze,
Okay.
which is sort of, it's a very thick wash, pretty much. Like if you take a look at my palette here, I have my base paint that I'm working with, the shadow color that I can always kind of dip back and forth into, and then I have matte varnish. Now the matte varnish is completely clear. It adds nothing to the paint. It just adds body to the paint. But unlike water, water will make it so eventually the paint just kind of disperses and it loses all of its structure. With adding matte varnish to the mix, it stabilizes it and lets it flow a little bit better.
Now, are you using acrylics? Are you using... I don't even know what type of paint you would use for a model.
These are all acrylics. They're all water-based acrylics. I don't usually use enamels. They're a little too goopy. I do use, and I swear by this stuff, it's Vallejo liquid gold. If you're doing metallic gold, it literally goes on.
Oh yeah, that's the alcohol-based one? Yeah, I love
it goes on and dries exactly like that. And it's
awesome.
Beautiful. The only catch with that is you have to clean it with alcohol. If you use water, the pigments rust.
Sure.
Pigments rust?
I'm not sure what metal is in there, but yeah, they oxidize and they turn all weird.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. I've always been a little bit intimidated to paint my own models because all I have is acrylics, and I was like, well, won't they look chunky? But maybe if I use some of that medium, that's
as
fine.
long as you thin it. Like, thinning your paints is one of the biggest steps in painting minis. Like, anyone new, like, I would say go out, like, talk to Emily, have her send you a model, and just start painting.
Yeah.
And just start painting.
When you come to Gen Con, go over to the paint and take area. That's where all of Reaper's painters just hang out and paint all weekend. And they're always happy to show people new techniques, get them started on stuff. And they give you models and paints and brushes and everything just to go.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. That's
And I need to
fascinating.
remember to actually send them stuff.
I'm going to take a short break. I will be right back.
Sure. We're partially sponsoring the Dragon Con paint and take this year.
Oh, are you? So are your figures going to be showing up in there?
Yeah, so I'll send them a bunch of things that were easy to cast, and that'll be one of the options of the paint and take.
Bunch of gels.
Gels are not easy to cast.
Really?
Really?
Oh my gosh. I had no
So
idea.
what would you qualify as something easy to cast then? Or do you not want to say?
No, like the Squire and the Dark Priest are some of the easiest ones. They just flow really well. Because that's really, when I say easy or not, is just how quickly I can actually get the flow to go into the mold, and then just dump it in the pot. And the gels always take more resin than I think they're going to take, and they always require just a little bit more hands-on touch to get the bubbles out. But like the Dark Knight here, her sword is really easy to do, but she takes a bit of work, the body part of her, because it's two separate parts.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
It is still a fantastic model, though.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm probably going to end up having Patrick resculpt the other Dark Knight to have it match a bit better. It's like one of 6 models I want him to resculpt. Along with everything else, I just need him to sculpt it the first time. I just need to buy him for a month. And... No, you don't do any other commissions.
You're mine now.
Emily, how many modelers do you have?
We've gone through a number of them. Right now, it's pretty much just Patrick doing stuff. But we had, let's see, I know I'm gonna forget somebody when I'm saying this, but Daniel Falkine was one of our first ones for Brushfire. Leonardo Ventic did a bunch of Brushfire. Bob Naismith did stuff for both games. He did most of the initial Endless sculpts.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Steele has done stuff for both games, and he's also one of our painters. But he's a writer now for CMOD, so he's been pretty busy with that. Sean Bullo has done a bunch of our larger monsters. Like he did the Dark Dragon. He did your Behemoth design.
Yeah. That turned out so good.
Behemoth.
Yeah.
I do love the Behemoth.
Yeah, I gave that to you, the paint. I'm really looking forward to seeing you do that.
Yeah, I currently have him really like this. It's just lots and lots of white. Hard to pick out.
Oh, there he is. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's so cool. I mean, it's so cool drawing something and then seeing how the sculptor translates it into an actual, 3D figure.
That amazes me.
Isn't it? It's like magic.
Yeah. Last year at Adepticon, I went and sat in on one of Patrick's classes for sculpting, and just to try to learn a bit and see how he does things. And it was like just basic get started sculpting, make a wireframe, and I'm just like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but it looks gorgeous, and I will just continue looking at you. Going back to my no idea what the hell I'm doing with art discussion that we had earlier, Andrew. I hate when paints separate. I really need a better hobby area. I've just mainly got
What are you working on?
I've got my clutter desk going on here, as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
and then all my paint are just in this box on the floor next to me.
Oh my gosh.
I just dig through it to try to find what I'm looking for. But I've got the Dark Knight as well, which my camera cannot pick up small objects close up for some reason. But unlike Andrew, who's painting the gorgeous studio model that will never be touched, and mine is the demo Abuse Me figure, so I'm just doing a very simple, quick and dirty tabletop paint job with it.
Oh, I should explain what I'm going to do. I'm probably not going to take the computer into the kitchen with me, so you won't be able to see me doing this because it's too close to Noah. But what I'll be doing is adding stamps to my leather. If you're going to be making a leather piece and you want something stamped, like embossed into it, you have to do that before any painting, any staining. So I have my raw leather right now. I'm going to get it wet, which is called casing. And then as it dries back for me, I'm going to be stamping. And I have these stamps custom made for me by a friend of mine who's also a leather worker. And so we're going to be doing, I want to do another Zelda bag, so I'm going to do Triforce. I also want to do one that's kind of themed off of Rosalina from Super Mario Galaxy, so I'm going to do a star. And then I also want to do a Toadette bag, but I don't have, all I have is a Toad stamp, and I'm trying to work on a way to modify that into a Toadette. So I'm just going to do these two right now. But I'll go there, you'll hear some banging maybe, and I'll come back and be like, voila!
That's awesome. Are you going to be bringing those to Gen Con, Al?
Yeah, I mean, if I can get enough stock made, I would love to place them on your table, because I think that would be a good market for them, and I think it would kind of go well with your products.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized I haven't saved this yet.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
Don't do that. Don't tell me that.
An hour in and just like, oh no, just start over from the top.
Oh,
But
know
I think
that.
it's coming out pretty good. I like the general feel of how it's come through. Now that I know he's an usurper to the throne, I've given him a little bit more of a like a cocksure expression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want that. If you don't, let me know.
No, that's
But,
pretty good.
I figure he'll and we've got a lot of like motion, like wind's obviously blowing from the left, so I'll probably have his hair kind of like also go in that same mode, and it creates this nice sense of like, I don't know, like he's about to swing his sword at you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing from the illustrator side of things I struggle with, or I see it as a challenge, I should say. It's not like a struggle like an addiction or whatever, but like is I really, as an illustrator, I want every piece to feel interesting. You know, I want there to be some motion, there to be some sort of sense of like, I don't know, just energy to the piece. And unfortunately, when drawing for figurines that have to be like potentially units in a group, you don't want it, you kind of almost have to balance making a really unique, interesting figure against making a figure that's gonna like, first of all, cast well, and then also be able to like look good if there's like multiples. Although because this is a not a unit, it's a specific character, I feel like there's a little bit more flexibility in how specific to make the character.
Yeah.
Whereas units, you probably want something a little bit more like a stock pose, like they're just standing or they're just like holding their weapon ready to attack or whatever.
It's funny, like, it depends a lot on the type of game you're doing.
Really?
Because sometimes people will want all their individual units to have a lot of character and whatnot to it, and sometimes you just want them to be able to rank up and just be uniform and fit together. You know, with Endless, we try to have a little bit of a mix of that, because it's the grid system, so we want to make sure that things fit on the grid, and like you can actually get models next to each other. But we also want them to all kind of be characterful, which I think you've done a really good job with all the like generic classes and monster designs you've done, to have them be that way.
Yeah, well, and I feel like your system in particular lends itself to more character beats. Like, I don't know, it's not like 15 millimeter where every miniature is super tiny, but also deliberately intended to be like 5 figures to a stand or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So I think that helps me a lot as a creator to feel a little bit more confident to design the characters a little more specifically, so they have a specific flavor and they feel unique and like they're individual characters. Can you guys hear Alex banging in the kitchen?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, keep it down. Jeez. How rude.
They're trying to art here.
Also, I love the switching back and forth between my shitty paint job and Andrew's really nice paint job, and also just like this my little palette here, which is a discarded tea container.
Yeah. Very professional. Yes.
Yeah, we got this palette. I've got a piece of plexiglass, which is just beautiful.
It actually does have kind of a charm to it.
I had a palette somewhere. I don't know where it went to.
Or
But I really like these little disposable teacups.
I have a coffee mug, and that's how I accumulate. Is I get.
Well, then that's why I asked you.
Thank you. Yes. So Emily, if you would be willing to take a look, how do you like the overall feel of the piece? Is it looking kind of like what you want?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Looks good.
All right. Because now that I have it generally like worked out, as you have probably noticed, I work in stages, and I build up based off of just like thumbnails and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the stage where I'm just working out like where are all the pieces gonna go, where's the clothing gonna go, and then from this stage I could refine it a little more, or I could jump straight to line work. And I know some different artists work different ways. Some artists at this stage are like, oh my gosh, just jump to line work, and other artists, I know a lot in comics in particular, they like their pencils or their rough to be super tight before they jump into the line work stage. But I tend to work a little looser, for better or worse.
I do like that a bit about your style, is having it look a little bit more rough in some places.
Yeah, well, I love like a lot of the things that are inspirational to me, like not Miyazaki, although I do love Miyazaki. Amano, I was thinking of Amano. His stuff is super rough, but it's just got this nice energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with ultra refined work, or like animation quality stuff, a lot of the time suffers from this too, is when it's super precise. Sometimes it loses its energy, and it kind of becomes flat. Like it's the rendering's amazing, but like, oh my gosh, it's okay. The rendering is like incredible, but it kind of, the spirit of the piece dies a little bit. And as an artist, like I'm mostly interested in the energy and the like character and the life of the piece. So that's kind of anathema to the kind of art that I like to do. I also like the original Final Fantasy Tactics artist, which I should know, but now I'm blanking.
Masuno, I think.
Is that it? Yeah.
I don't know. Matt would know, and he's gonna be angry at me for not knowing if he listens to this later.
But that is such fantastic work, and it also has this very kind of like, I don't know, traditional like hand-drawn kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna flip this. Yeah, I much prefer this cape blowing to the right. Transform. Flip. Yep, there's that gangster lean.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Well, Andrew, I'm base coated. I don't know what's taking you so long.
I am not. I'm base coated. Shut up.
Now I just gotta find my wash, wherever that is in this terrible bucket of hell.
You need a wall of paint.
I do.
Like this.
Well,
Like just wall of paint wherever it is. There we are.
well, I've got like this whole mess behind me here that I really need to clean up at some point, and I want to put like a little desk somewhere to be able to actually have a proper hobby area that's not just directly in front of my computer. But I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Hard. It's hard when you're working, and then you also have a company that you're running.
Yeah, and I got to. My next main thing actually is to. I got to clear out most of the garage because that's where we keep a lot of the like convention displays, and the product is all stored out there and everything. And I just need to reorganize that whole thing to make it a bit better.
Same thing with my cosplays recently, and it felt really good out in one area. We have our apartment complex comes with like these little storage bins out in the car. We call it that carport. It's not quite a garage, but we've moved everything into these plastic Tupperware containers, and it's amazing. So now when I need a costume, I just go out there and I'm like, okay, all of my wigs are in one container, and then the rest of the pieces are in separate containers, and I've listed who's in what box, so I don't have to worry about missing pieces anymore.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show you guys the stamps. The shitty thing about leatherworking is that you can go so far, and then you get to a stage and you mess it up, and it ruins it forever. So I don't think I ruined it, but
you're not happy with it?
It didn't turn out as clean as I wanted. I know it's going to be hard to see it.
So how do you make the stamps?
You have to have something that's going to press down into the leather, so you have to have either really tough plastic or metal.
Mm-hmm.
Mine are 3D printed, and the guy who makes them for me, his name is Stanley. First of all, he's a lovely human being, and then also he has a website where he does like leather work. Like he's a real leather crafter. He's very good at it. What is his website? I don't remember. I'm going to have to find it. I think it has the word loot in it, but I'll find it. So I put together some vector art, and then I sent it to Steve, and he 3D printed me some stamps. And you can find people who will do that for you. Otherwise, you need to buy them from people on Etsy or at Tandy Leather, and they have a few shapes, but none of them had a Mario star. So that's what I wanted. The Mario star came out really well. Like, that's fine. It's really clean. And then, so our next stage is going to be to paint these. And then we can put the antiquing gel over them. I had these pieces that I made already. These are the bottoms to the bag. And it's hard to tell, but they are 3 different colors. And I'll just have to figure out which one I want to go with which bag configuration. Because they're all going to have this brown color, and then the top of the bag will be a brightly colored suede. So this one is kind of a more dull color, but these ones I'm planning are going to be like probably going to go with turquoise and hunter green, and then the toadette bag that I'm going to finish later will be pink, and I'm talking pink.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a heck of a color.
it's not like I'm not super into pink myself, but I really appreciate it, and I think there's a lot of people out there who would like a pink dice bag.
Wow.
So that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that will probably end up being actually really popular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to try it, and I'm really excited to make a toadette symbol on the bag because I think they'll just be beyond adorable.
We have a friend who does a line of miniatures storage bags, and his most popular color ended up being the pink one, because nobody else was doing a pink bag at the time. So it was very easy to find your bag in a crowd. And two, it just stands out so much in general. And is, like just the uniqueness of it. Plus, it is totally just a great color that a lot of girl gamers want. The same with purple.
I have a lovely purple. I already made one purple bag though, so I'm gonna let that sit until it sells.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a brighter, like more saturated grapey color of suede that I'm planning on working with soon, and I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
I'm gonna go fix my tea and then come back and paint these symbols.
Oh, it just started like storming out. That's good.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh gosh.
Well, hopefully, I don't lose power.
At least it's not snow.
Yeah. But it's Florida, so a rainstorm can knock out my power pretty easily.
Oof.
Oh, that sucks. Do you get like flash rainstorms?
A little bit. Like, despite being the sunshine state, it does rain a lot here.
I'm sure.
It's usually just over quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had a couple of transformers blow up in the neighborhood recently, so that's been kind of worrying. I wonder what this will do if the host randomly gets power outed.
It literally explodes.
Yeah.
Kills everyone involved.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, son.
I love that edging.
Oh, on the yeah. Transform.
Right.
That sound is CC in the hallway.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's why my screen is showing up right now, because she's making noise.
That cat.
She's
Something wrong
helping.
with that. Oh, sure, yeah. She's freaking more shit.
She helps so good.
Hi. Hey, dude.
So, Noah, you mentioned that you're planning on upgrading your computer. Are you going to stay with Macs, or are you going to go PC?
Go PC. It's a funny story. When I was getting my Cintiq, they had just released the tablet Cintiq, the ones where it's a computer and a Cintiq, so you can just go anywhere with it. And I was super enamored of that idea, and I grew up with PCs. So I bought one, and it was pretty expensive. It was about $1,700. I mean, like relatively speaking, that's pretty expensive. But
yeah. No, that's expensive. It's cool.
So, well, it's just crazy because in the antique world you can spend upwards of $3,000 or $4,000 for one,
Mhm.
and so and that ran on Windows, and so I was like, I can get used to Windows again. I can, I swear. And then I tried it for 2 weeks, and I just ran into so much trouble just out of the box, kind of like programs not running like they should, or I don't know, just. And I try not to be too biased about these things, but for whatever reason, it just didn't really gel with me, and I was so relieved to go back to working on my Mac. And maybe it's just because I have worked on a Mac for 8 years now that now I'm so used to how that works, and or maybe it was because it was what was it, the Windows platform that everyone hated. Vista. Maybe because it was Windows Vista, but like
10,
whatever mix of that was such a pain in the ass that I was just like never again. And it's too bad because there's a lot of like really excellent art programs that exclusively run and also like game developing systems because like I am interested in programming, so a lot of like just developing indie games is so much easier on Windows. But I'll probably end up sticking with a Mac just because I'm used to how they run. This one's been super reliable, so I've got good experience. And that I know there's plenty of my friends will not touch a Mac because they've had such bad experiences with them. But like, I don't know. What about you? You guys are Windows, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've looked into buying a Mac a couple of times, but it's just always been out of my price range.
Oh my gosh,
But
it's so expensive.
all my tablet stuff is all Macs. Like I've got my iPhone and I've got an iPad, and I like using both of them. I actually was looking into getting the latest iPad until I saw the price point on it. But I really like the idea of being able to just do InDesign and Photoshop straight on the tablet, especially for the stuff that I do.
Right.
Because I do it all now on my laptop anyway, so just
Really.
slightly less weight on me when I'm trying to work would be really nice.
Oh sure, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm not comfortable doing that stuff anymore on a PC, on a regular PC. I need to sit on the couch and relax and have a cat with me to be able to get the books edited.
Oh sure.
Sure, yeah, it enhances the creativity. It's proven.
Of course, it probably has nothing to do with the fact that my desk is an absolute nightmare to sit at.
Nah.
Not at all.
Is it like ancient, or do you have like a terrible chair or whatever?
I have a terrible chair, and it's just so cluttered.
Sure. Speaking of clutter, one practice I do is I take screen caps of things and they just show up on my desktop. And that's how I collect references and all that kind of stuff. So as much as I want to keep this desktop clean, and I make a real effort to, but basically every day it's like making a little pile of things that you have to like organize and put away, and with all the other things that come up, usually I'll let it build up. And because I have two screens, it's really easy to let it super build up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just like go through and put them all into the appropriate folders and all that kind of stuff. But I know one time I was streaming, because a lot of what I do is streaming commissions and stuff like that. And one person was appalled. They couldn't believe that my desktop was such a mess. And I was like, well, you do you, all right? Let's see. Transform, flip horizontal. Okay. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good from both sides.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm using a special paint on my leather. It's called Cova Color, and it's made for this. You can use acrylic paint on leather just fine. I just know that for metallic colors and for white and yellow, I prefer to use the actual brand that's supposed to do this. And I'm actually going to tint my Koa color with a little bit of watercolor paint because I want a specific kind of a peach tone, and I know I can get it with this cadmium. I just add a little bit.
I'm gonna move my camera and stuff around because I gotta wait for that wash to dry now and stick this somewhere when I'm actually a visible person. Oh no, don't see all my terrible, terrible Dark Heresy books.
Tisk.
Actually, it's not. It's what did I have? Oh no, those are mostly Dark Heresy. I forgot. I actually did buy all of them. But it's all of the Only War is what I really have all of. But nobody ever wants to play it.
That's a pity. I played Deathwatch for a while and I really enjoyed it.
I'm going to show my noovishness. Are those both tabletop or are
Yeah,
they,
those are tabletop RPGs in the Warhammer 40k setting.
Oh, sure.
Only War is playing as a guardsman, and Deathwatch is playing as that's the Space Marines, right?
Yeah, that's the Space Marines. It got silly really quickly.
They all get silly really quickly.
Oh my gosh.
Like what? Like, reveal me. Curious.
Our silliness, it all culminated, like, in Deathwatch, you are a Space Marine. And how the Deathwatch works is they are the special forces of the Space Marine. Every chapter sends off a couple of their people to go train with the Deathwatch, and it's this big, prestigious honor. And they fight, like, the worst of the worst incursions of aliens and all that jazz. What we ended up doing was we were fighting Tyranids, which are alien from aliens, that kind of deal. And they were invading a planet. We had to go to an asteroid around this planet to drop the asteroid onto a moon that would destabilize the moon to crash into the planet to destroy the planet.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All the while we're running around 10-foot tall, power armor, and my guy just had swords. And I was the most effective combat member, so go figure.
Oh my gosh.
It gets silly. But it's fun. Just definitely no staying power compared to like a long D&D campaign, or I'm sure even like Only War or Dark Heresy too might have a little more staying power.
I would agree. It really depends on the group.
So, to be honest, I didn't realize that Warhammer had gone into like role playing. Like I knew, like obviously Warhammer is figurines and stuff like that, but they also do like D&D style campaigns.
I think was Fantasy Flight the ones who published those?
Yeah, it's Fantasy Flight putting them out, which is an American company who do a bunch of board games, and they do that. They do. Did they do something else? Oh, they do X-Wing.
Mm-hmm. They do a lot of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard only good things about X-Wing Fighter.
Yeah, X-Wing's a fun little game. Definitely a fun little game.
Yeah, our friends who, again, are the biggest nerds I know, are trying to collect all the figures from that, and I remember asking them, like, do you think they would ever release a Death Star? And then we looked up how big the Death Star would be compared to, like, all the other. It's ridiculous. It would be like a mile long, I think, or something like that.
When you're at Gen Con, look around the Miniatures Gaming Hall. I'm sure somebody will have the Trench Run board set up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Alright. And that is the second gray color.
Oh yeah, let's see it. Let's see it.
There we are.
Oh.
Looks good.
You can sort of, it's hard to tell in such a, well, grainy webcam and because it's so early. But big thing to set up on non-metallics is areas like this where it's the sword.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally seen 100 different ways of doing it. But you always want to have one area of like super, super darkness and any like edges, like there's the edge of the blade here, that's kind of a terminator point. So you always flip the gradient on the other side. Like here it's going to be, this is going to go almost to white and be really, really sharp. And this, I'm going to even shade it down further to almost a black.
Oh, wow.
Are those
that's so cool.
Are those crystals on her base or just rocks?
Those are crystals because crystal mines thing.
Are you gonna do a little bit of object source?
Yeah, none on the figure. Really, what I've done in the normal, the miniatures I've already done. I'm not a huge object source lighting fan. I think it can look a little silly. It's a little too forced a lot of times.
Obviously,
like,
you have to exaggerate it to make sure it's obvious.
Right. Like some people I've seen, and granted, some of them do it really, really well. They would take like the little crystals that I have here, and they would have like elements of the light like all the way up, and it looks great. But I'm not good enough to do that. I'm definitely not good enough. I'd end up botching my entire paint job, and it would look terrible, and I'd be sad.
Oh, that's such a neat idea, though. I can already imagine what you're talking about. Like, if you're not really masterful with it, it could come off looking kind of hokey.
Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen, I wish I had a picture of it, but I play a board game called Kingdom Death Monster, and in it, it's very grimdark, very, like, humans are the bottom of the food chain, and there are all these giant monsters that want to eat you. Every character has a little lantern on them. So they'll use that as the light source and paint everything in very blue, very cold tones, very muted. And they would just have, like, the character all over their arm and all in their chest, like, facing the lantern as this brilliant orange and yellows. And it looks spectacular because it's all based around that one point of light.
Yes.
I've never been able to crack that. Like this non-metallic thing, I've only recently really done, because up to this point it was just witchcraft. And there are still people. One of the entries from the not Golden Demon, the Crystal Brush this year was a knight in a chest plate and like plate mail, all non-metallic paints, but it looked like it was made of chrome.
Oh,
Wow.
And just people with skills like that, I don't know how they do it. It's incredible.
It's funny, metal in many textures and many types of materials, how when you work on rendering them, sometimes I feel that your mental understanding of it can sometimes get in the way of actually rendering it. So you might think like, well, this is white, so I need to paint it white, like this, or it's silver, so it needs to be silver. When it really, like, you run into this a lot with chrome in art school and stuff like that. Like chrome is usually all different kinds of colors because what makes it chrome is that it's reflecting the colors around it. But when you think about chrome, you don't think about like a rainbow of colors. You just think, oh, chrome's kind of the silver color, so you start with silver. And I don't know, it's always interesting to me to learn how different people think about rendering and like what actually makes something look like what you're trying to get across,
Exactly, right. Right. too much.
Get out of my way. Let's see if I can get her to actually show up properly. Yeah, she just won't focus on that at all. I'll post a picture of it on Facebook later.
Maybe if you put your hand behind her?
Actually, I had a piece of paper somewhere.
It's even better than a hand.
Like, it just doesn't want to focus on it.
Come on, webcam.
Oh well.
Right.
Oh, I forgot my black paint.
There we go. Well, if you take a look in the Endless Group's Facebook page where I made the link to the video, you can see the proper picture of how that Dark Knight came out for me.
I'll do that in just a second. Let's see. It's a bit better. This foot just looked way too big. That's a bit better. Okay, look. Where
Yeah, that non-metallic is looking really good, Andrew.
Hey. Still ways to go on her, but definitely getting somewhere. Biggest thing I find with non-metallic is you have to work in really, really thin paint.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost no color in it whatsoever, and you just slowly build it up over and over and over and over again. And you always have to go back and like retouch the edges a little bit more, darken it up some. Just constantly blending.
Now I got sirens going right past the house. That's fun.
Oh, that sounds
I was
fun.
gonna say, what'd you do?
Emily, did you say you posted that picture of it on Endless's
The group page.
group page?
Yeah.
Yep, it's right underneath the video.
Am I crazy?
Probably.
Definitely.
That answer came too quickly.
Yeah, photos.
There's the link in our chat.
Yes. Move this over here so we don't get chatception. Oh, there it is.
You don't want to just share your Facebook page with everybody?
Oh, I already know that. I'm totally doing that. Let's see. Where are you? Oh, that's fun. Oh, there it is. There it is. I'm just gonna put it on my desktop. I don't care.
That's a feeling. That's I can't talk at all. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, everyone.
Boop.
So that's nice. Let's see. And here it is with the. Now, how tall are your figures? Are they 25 millimeter?
They're 40 mil generally, so they're
40.
average 40 to 35. I actually have a little thing here. I have my Gundam cutting pad that has a little measurement section on it. And
I have a handy little.
Yes.
I have a little 25 mil, the 32 mil standard Eldar.
Oh, cool.
See, she looks to be about 40 millimeters to the eye, about 44 to the top of that helmet. So she's a big girl.
I love bigger figurines. I mean, the small ones are cool too, but.
Well, we wanted to go a little bit bigger just to make it a little bit easier for people who are new painting to have a larger surface area, because I always found smaller stuff to be a lot harder to paint and to deal with. I just think that like Patrick can get a lot more detail and character into the sculpts when they're that nice big size.
Well, and I feel like Endless in particular is a game that kind of it's built around the character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just with your naming conventions and the obvious like homages and stuff like that, but just the overall sense of the game. So that makes a lot of sense as like a corporate choice to go with the bigger figurines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all about that corporate mentality here at On the Lamb.
We're so about the corporate mentality.
For sure.
Let's see, how do I want this to work?
Let's see. So now, instead of painting, I'm doing the incredibly exciting task of writing.
Yay, oh boy.
Yeah, look at this wonderful crap I'm dealing with here.
Gaze in awe as she puts words together.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thrill as she uses syntax. The gaping horrors makes an issue.
Okay, Andrew, I can't type if you're going to keep this up.
Well, fine. Then I guess I'll just keep it up. I'm done.
You're never done.
No, I'm never done.
So, Andrew, how did you get into painting? What was your origin story?
I've always had an interest in, my first experience with miniatures was really Games Workshop. When I was had to have been 10 at the time, I walked into a store on vacation in Toronto, and it's like, oh, wow, I want some of these. No, those are too expensive, Andrew. Put that down. Okay. Because I'd always built car models and whatnot.
Sure.
I even have them floating around here somewhere, and they're terrible. But back 2009, my parents got me the starter kit for Warhammer 40K, and that just kind of all spiraled from there. And it's like, oh wow, I really enjoy painting this. Then I started getting into commissions and whatnot when another friend of mine is like, well, if you got free time, I got a game store in my basement. I have hundreds and hundreds of figures, and he has a ridiculous collection, and it all just spiraled. And then I met Matt and Em and Tom. And it all just really snowballed. It's kind of funny looking back at it.
Oh yeah. Well, so often I feel like, especially art careers, that's kind of how it works. And that's why everyone's like, well, if you want to do it, just start doing it, and things will start to happen, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, yeah, I used to have just really the one dude I was painting stuff for, and I would get maybe a project every other couple of months, and I would finish
Right.
them in several months. Now, especially now, because I recently was hired in because I needed to really do something, because just need to do something out of the house. So I got hired in, and now I'm getting even more commission work. I actually got another buddy of mine. He's like, "Hey, yeah, I have a couple more flyers." It's like, I really shouldn't be scheduling more, but okay. Yeah, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
I know, like for me, I got the lizard men, I think,
Hmm.
because I was super into dinosaurs, especially when I was a kid. And I never actually played a game. I have to this day to play a single game of Warhammer. But I really enjoyed like the miniatures. I liked how they looked. I really wanted the Cold One riders because they were like little raptors.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And yeah, but I guess that just speaks to the fact that like people come to this hobby for all kinds of reasons, and it's not necessarily just to play the game. Although obviously
Absolutely.
it is a game, but
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I haven't played. I have not played Warhammer 40K, which was my primary game for ages. I haven't played that since Adepticon back in April,
oh
and
wow,
before that was the previous Adepticon a year prior. So I don't paint. I paint. I don't get to play anymore.
Right, right. We spend so much time making things that we love. We kind of lose time to enjoy those pursuits that those things are about.
Mm.
Yeah. I
right.
spend so much time designing and selling and everything. I don't really ever play anymore either. Like,
Right? Isn't that sad?
I haven't really played a game of Endless that hasn't started with. So this is Endless Fantasy Tactics. So the tactical miniatures game.
Well, looks like we have a
Years.
job to do at Gen Con then.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm having you actually run stuff at the booth so that I can get away and maybe actually play a game.
Mm.
Plus all the business stuff that I usually need to deal with.
Business, mergers, business.
Yeah.
We recently did that at PenguinCon. We usually go to PenguinCon and we have a table, but it's such a fun convention. We wanted to just explore and actually go to panels, and I got to play a game that I have been waiting 3 years to play.
Oh my
I was so
gosh.
excited. It's called Starship Simulator Artemis.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, I had a really good time. And we had, in the previous years, we just didn't have a chance to get away from our table.
Right, right. Yeah, I feel like that game does so much with the it's really like how it's set up, even with the peripherals and everything, to draw you into the experience. Because the game itself, I mean, it's fine, but it's not like incredible as like a strictly like computer gaming experience goes.
Right.
But having all your friends there and like playing with other people and having someone actually sitting in the captain chair and all that kind of stuff, it makes such a big difference to the overall like. It's really cool. You know, you really start to feel like you're there.
Okay, so I finished this black outline on this star, and I think I don't like it, so I'm going to put a gold wash over it, kind of, turn it down a little bit, and I think that will work well because I've got a gold sheen on the peach color that is the star right now. But before I do that, I need to let it dry.
Yeah, actually, that makes me think of something. So, like, the way that I do art, mistakes are cheap. I mean, it's not. I can edit undo pretty fast for the most part, and like I've built work processes in. Like I have this folder called the gutter where I just dump things as I don't need them anymore, but I still have access to them. So if there's some horrible mistake, I can like go back to an earlier version of it. But Andrew, like as a painter of figurines, you don't have edit undo.
No, I wish I did sometimes.
How often do you run into situations where you're like just guessing and hoping that it's going to work out, and then it doesn't, and then you just have to like start over entirely, or maybe not entirely, but you have to like majorly redo it?
Well, I'm pretty frequently going, I wonder if this will work. I just start painting. One of my favorite things to do is, hey, I heard about this new technique. Well, should I try it on a small model, something I can throw away? No, let's just jump to a big production model.
Right.
Like I did this giant camo scheme on a walker for Warhammer, and didn't know how it would turn out at all, and jumped right onto the model itself, which is like $100 model.
Oh my God.
But as far as fixing things, like I try to you can't rush it like everything else. You got to take your time, and I have to slow down and make sure that I control my brush right and everything. The paint does take a little bit of time to dry, so if you're really quick, you can kind of wipe it off with a wet finger, or if I splodge onto like a character's face as I'm painting it, you can wet a brush real quick and kind of mop it up, and normally it'll mostly get rid of it.
Sure.
I rarely have to restart completely. Usually when I do, it's only going to be like a particular color, like if I splodge over a skin tone, because skin tones are awful, awful things to have to paint. That's still one of my biggest struggles. But
Oh, why?
it's just to get skin, to do skin right. It looks a certain way, right?
Well, it has to look alive. Yeah.
And I've never been able to figure out how to best do it, because it's a lot of transparent layers, and a lot of paints are like super, super pinky. Let me see if I can find an example. The old Games Workshop paints were amazingly bad at color. Like, let's see. Yeah, like here we kind of have the old triad. You had a very dark color called tanned flesh, and it's like, in the camera actually, and it's this like just a bright orangey kind of gross pinky color.
It's
So
almost
everyone
red.
would look like it's like they're sunburned. And then another step up, you have dwarf flesh, which was very, very peachy colored. It was very orange, which looked off. And at the highest end of the spectrum, you have this bright, bright peach color that almost had yellow to it. So you could make a reasonable mix, like, because for blending and everything, but they always look off by being too red or too pink or too orange, and they don't look right, if you know what I mean.
I totally know what you mean. Yeah.
But I have been tapping into a lot of Reaper paints. Like, I love them right out of the bottle because they're very kind of muted. They have a little bit of they're not as saturated.
Right.
So they don't, like, while you are using like a peach color or a bright pink color, it's not peach and pink.
Like literally peach and pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I go back to some of my old models, and it's amazing. Ugh.
I know, like I was saying earlier, I tend to like to build things up. And unfortunately, if you start out super saturated, it can it makes it more challenging, as opposed to like starting with more neutrals and then you build up to like the highlights being the most saturated colors, unless you're going for like a fluorescent character from the start, you know. And I've seen other people do things where they start with a more saturated color and then they put up a like more desaturated color over the top, and it makes this sort of like glowing from underneath look. But I don't know. I guess it's all on how you prefer to work, really.
Right. Yeah, I always wish there was an undo button.
Right? Yeah.
One of my favorite anecdotes is I have a client who does War Machine and Hordes, and on one model in particular, it was this alligator kind of witch doctor and had a mask on him, and he's like, in the stock image, it is brown wood with kind of an ivory color to it, and it looks sharp because it's dark and light, very simple, sweet, to the point. He sends me a message late one night and goes, well, what do you think about adding color? And he sends me a picture of, if you've ever played Crash Bandicoot, it's Aku Aku. It's like the brightly colored witch doctor masks.
Oh my gosh, yes. I know exactly who you're talking about.
So he's like, what if we put colors on it? And over all the nice white that took a long time to get looking at.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't think we should do this. I really don't. Like, in my opinion, we should not do this. Let's do it. Oh.
Yeah, so how bad did it come out?
Oh, the next day.
Just like.
The next day, I won't have a picture of it on my computer because it got moved over. It looked so bad. It was so bad, and he looks at it and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I was so wrong."
I know. Well, and it's so funny. Like, I deal with clients a lot too, and it's always surprising to me how often clients don't know what they want. They think they do, and you tell them, "No, you actually don't want this." And they're like, "No, I do. I'm like, "All right, well, you're the client, so I'll give it to you." And then you give it to them, and they're like, "Oh, this is terrible." I'm like, "Yeah." But just the other day, I was doing a metallic kind of like robot girl thing, and this person was like, the way that I generally work is I have a general color palette I'll start with, but especially with metallics, you have to start more neutral and then build up the darks and the lights. And he was like, I just want the base color of this metal to be white. Just start white. And I was like, you can't start white. You have to and I tried to explain it to him, and I was like, you know what? Just let me put on the highlights and the lowlights, or the highlights and the shadows. And if you still feel like you want to switch over and do it that way, I'd be happy to change it. It's not a big deal, but just see what I'm talking about and trust that I'll deliver. And he's like, okay. And so I gave it to him. He's like, oh, that's exactly what I had in mind. I'm like, yes. like I was saying earlier, like, even though you think of chrome as silver, it's, if you render it, or like a mirror, for example, you think of a mirror usually as like a silver thing. You actually look at a mirror, it's actually just whatever colors are in the room.
Right.
So yeah, I love clients. I mean, like, I love working with them, but there are certainly pitfalls you run into, and I feel like one of them is when they have this brilliant idea and you try and politely say, like, that's maybe not the best idea, and they're like, no, I really want it. I'm like, well, okay. I know my friend's a tattoo artist. She deals with that a lot too, and with that, obviously, it's a much more permanent.
Oh yeah, there's no undo button there.
Nope. You really don't want, like, this is so kitschy right now and like popular, but you're not gonna like it in 3 months. And like, yes, I will. And then like 3 months later, like, can you cover this up, or can you like remove this? And like, well, it's gonna be really hard, but sure.
So yeah, at Adepticon, Matt had the great idea of let's make a higher point cost card for the Kieran because it's kind of a big model, so it's going to be kind of pricey, and it was only a single point to begin with. So now we have a 3C version of it as well that I will get printed in the next couple of weeks, and we'll include it with all the Kickstarter shipments along with the retail release at Gen Con.
Neat.
That is exciting.
I want to see someone run a whole bunch of Corinne now.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I want to see at some point as well. Is just big monster parties and I mean that is kind of one of the downsides to the system being small party model system. Of you don't really get the chance to see like a horde of Magic Aura or something going out,
Right.
but you can still make some pretty cool teams out of stuff.
Yeah. Like I always try and run my slimes or the gels because I love my gels.
Oh yeah, everybody loves the gels.
Gels plus Earth Troll equals blow everything up.
Yeah, I really like the Lunarians, running them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we've got art now for another 2 that I will eventually get sculpted and get proper cards to, so I can have a full little team.
Team Moon Rabbits.
Sounds like the cutest baseball team ever. Oh, Moon Rabbit! I can't wait to start working on that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I've got a pattern for a stuffed rabbit, like just a kid's toy. And as you can see, I'm just kind of like doing things I feel, and yeah, I guess I'm tracing a little bit, but I'm not having little problems. I prefer to just come up with my own stuff. So what I'm going to do is probably make that, see how it works, do some cutting, do some changing, and adapt it to my own needs for the Lunarian model.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, it's somewhere to start with because I can make a pattern, but why reinvent the wheel if I don't have to?
Yeah, at least give you something to start with.
So this is the green suede that's going to go with the Triforce bag, and it's nice. On the finished side, it's very shiny, and it's a deep green, almost black. But then on the side that I like to show, it's this nice shaggy texture, and it smells so good.
That's looking really good, Noah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming out. I had to move the sword because, like so many drawings, like when you're starting, it's like, oh, this seems like it makes sense, and then you work on it a while, and you're like, that makes no sense. Like the hilt would be like exploding through his hand. I mean, like, what the hell was I thinking? So just tilted it up a little bit more.
He's got a great smug look to his face too.
I know. I really like
It's looking awesome.
Yeah. That's all we're gonna do. Gosh, this whole experience right now is bringing me back to art school. Actually, like, because this is what we would do Saturdays, is we would all get together and work on, because we always had art assignments, of course, that we were like scrambling to catch up on and get finished.
Right.
So it would just be like all day just hanging out in the studio and just like this person's doing this thing and that person's doing that thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you came up with the idea.
It really helps, like, it really does help kind of the creative process. Because you can always throw it at someone and go, hey, what do you think of this? Or should I do this? Or even just the being around other people.
Like as they're working. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
A little
Well,
bit of socializing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the word.
And I also feel
Well,
like
yeah.
like I learned something today. I didn't realize like that non-metallic metallic, that is so cool. Like I didn't even think about that, but like now I'm like really excited at the idea of that. And I don't know how I could use that because like obviously in Photoshop you don't have metallic colors that you use. You just have colors.
Right.
But it still kind of like helps me think about how to do rendering and coloring and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like it's very much thinking along the same lines because you're working and you can't Photoshop metallics. You have to give the impression of metallics.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to applying that principle to maybe some cosplay armor.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
very interested in that.
So, yeah, Alex, I keep telling Andrew that he needs to cosplay the Dark Knight and that he should totally talk to you about that.
Oh,
I'd do
awesome.
that in a heartbeat.
that'd be freaking sweet. Yeah. Oh, well, do you have any experience with like sewing, or have a friend who could like do the sewing and you could handle the armor, or?
I've always been much more hardware than software, as I kind of term it.
Sure.
Like I can build props and armor and all that jazz. I know a bit about sewing. Fortunately for the Dark Knight, you don't need to sew much.
Just
Really,
the
just
cape.
the cape. But
So, dude, what you gonna wear with that armor? Your boxers?
Hmm?
Oh, I was just teasing.
We just couldn't really hear you, Al. You're a little muffled.
Oh, sorry, it's probably my computer. No, yeah, I'd be more than happy if you want to do a collaboration. We can figure out what kind of sewing is involved.
yeah, like I would love to cosplay something this year, but absolutely.
I think you're a little late to get started for this year.
I finished an army for Adepticon in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks.
Oh, a whole army? Are you kidding me? How many figures?
This one was probably 30 feet. 20, 10. Let's see. There was one big one, one big flyer. Probably 30 small dudes, a tank, and a plane.
Oh my God.
When I first got into Warhammer Fantasy properly, I painted around 75 wood elves in a weekend.
Oh my God! Did you sleep?
Not
Mad.
really. And I'm actually still pretty happy with how they came out too. Like for being
Right.
such a rush job. Yeah, they were one of the few things that I didn't sell of my Warhammer stuff, and they're still just sitting out in the garage on a shelf.
Got to bring those out in and put them in the dead offs.
I hate everything about the new Sigmar stuff.
There is nothing good about the new Sigmar stuff.
Wait,
Oh.
talk about this. I'm curious. What are you talking
Oh
about?
no, we really shouldn't actually shit talk other
Yeah.
companies.
We really shouldn't.
Well, here, instead you guys can see this beautiful turquoise pigskin that I have. Isn't that amazing?
That is
But
lovely.
it is. Wow, yeah.
I really like that color.
This is gonna go on. Oh, right. This is going to be my Rosalina bag.
Hmm.
So we've got this here, but it's going to look totally different because it'll have a brown stain over it. But I'm going to leave you'll still be able to see the star, like how pale it is. And that's going to go like that, so that'll be like Rosalina colors.
Hmm.
Yeah, Al is amazing at finding fabrics and stuff. So
I just like a bargain, and when I see this stuff on sale, oh my gosh. Like, I want this color and that color.
One of these, one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these.
Give me all the colors.
Yeah, good.
I'm getting really good at not painting on camera.
It's a talent, you know.
I'm sure everybody's loving the shot of the top of my head as I look down.
Yeah, right? Hi, Cece.
Kitty!
I just keep like hopping in between doing this and doing other stuff, so it's kind of a pain to move the camera around.
Still no sign of my pup.
Aw. Maybe next time.
Yup. Yeah,
No, Cece, she's
when-
weirded out because we're both in different rooms, and that's usually not how it is.
Oh. Who do I spend time with?
Where do I go?
I don't understand.
Humans, how dare you have an agenda of your own? Get in there and pet me.
Oh, I love cats so much. They are little Hitlers, though.
Yeah, I like
Maybe
cats.
Napoleon's is better, too. Yeah, they're both horrible dictators. Alright.
Right. I think that is the second gray. Third gray.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see it.
Alright.
There you go. Oh, wow. Oh, it's so cool.
Ah, stop talking. I can't see when you talk.
Andrew has to talk more.
I'm talking more now. Talking. Shinies. I'm usually very quiet.
Yeah, this is the quiet cast. We are all quiet people.
The quiet game.
That's really beautiful. I can see what you're talking about with that gradient, reversing it when you get to the end of the blade. That's looking really nice.
Yeah. It's becoming one of my kind of like favorite little techniques.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes forever. Recently I did a War Machine model in really... I wonder if I have a picture of it, actually. And it is all non-metallic. Let's see here if I can bring it up.
If you don't, I think I do, because Tom sent it to us.
Yeah. As you know, for the secret project.
Super secret.
Super secret. Alright. Screen share.
Well, don't worry. Only all 10 of our fans will see this.
Yeah. But yeah, like this.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That's amazing.
And will it change?
Yeah, that came out really well.
I
But yeah,
keep getting
this-
little-
It was
little-
it's awesome. I loved it. I still love it.
I'm going to send them a letter later of, hey, can I get that back?
Yeah, lots of learn. This is another kind of case where, well, I've heard about this technique. Let's just jump in and do it.
Go for it, sure.
And absolute madness. Oh, Stop screen share. There we go.
Wow, it's just delightful to look at, honestly. I guess that's like the magic of a lot of like this kind of like painterly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really does? I don't know. It's really it's like you've encapsulated a little piece of a world.
Did anyone hear my hip hop? Jeez,
You're what?
my hip bone.
Oh, jeez. Getting old, Al.
I know. Well, that's what that's what it was saying. I just shifted and it was like, hey, you're old.
Yeah, that's my knees, like, every day. So I thought about this since I just got paint all over my hand, but you don't wear gloves when painting either.
Nope. I don't. I've never had an issue. Like, I use my hand as a little palette. My thumbnail is often a palette, just
Ew.
when I do a ton. But yeah, I mean, I have no issue. It's part of kind of the job. When like the first good spring day of the season, I call it my spring color because my hand will start turning black and white and just gray, and I won't be able to wash it off because it's just so thick and stuck on, just because I'm priming so much stuff at once.
Yeah, in a similar vein, the time clock I have at my day job is a thumbprint reader. So I'm now down to using one of my pinkies, just because the other ones are all either covered in resin or I've just ripped the fingerprints right off them from the resin.
Ooh.
Wow.
And even that, I still only get like a 50% read when I try to clock in.
Jeez.
Sounds good. Sounds right. Sounds,
Yeah.
healthy and all that junk.
Remember,
I'm
kids,
actually-
safety first.
That's right. I'm about to do something where I'm going to be using gloves, and that is putting the color. I'm going to make this like this, and I will be using some antiquing gel. I think, or gel antique. I think the reason it's called gel antique is because it creates this sort of like old, worn look, and it's not. I don't think it's super toxic, but you should definitely use gloves, and I have gloves here with me.
Oh,
That, and I
sure.
imagine that would
Use gloves.
stain your hands a fair bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
You gotta plan everything out so that you're doing something while something is drying.
Yeah, you guys should know about that too.
I'm going to mark my stitching holes before I do the dye, because then when I do the dye and it's drying, I can punch the stitching holes.
And
Generally speaking, leather is not something that you want to just take a leather needle and stitch. It really helps if you poke a hole first.
and I went crazy, and I did a little like checkerboard for the base.
It's cute.
Now I gotta clear coat that like 6 times, so maybe it'll last as long as the last set did.
Emily, how many figures do you go through? Like, how long do the display figures last, or do you just make them last?
It really depends on the figure. Like the Brushfire demo figures would not last more than like 2 cons.
Really?
I think a big part of that was because they were made of metal, so it was much easier for the paint to just wear off. But I would end up doing touch-ups on them like after every show, and sometimes during the show, because people were just terrible to demo models. The Endless ones, the set that we were using before this, have lasted since 2012, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We did them when we went to, what was that show? The Crucible down here in Orlando, which is mainly like a War Machine show, but they had a couple other things, and we knew the people running it, so we went to it. But this year for Gen Con, we decided to update our demo team to be the starter set contents and then 2 other models. So Dark Knight Female is going to be one of them, and I'm probably going to do Arona as her cleric variant for the other one.
Cool. So I'm laying down some dark brown right now. I'm going to let this kind of sit on the raw leather to have it really stain it and stay strong, because I'm also going to apply a secondary color. In my experience, I've found that every time that you put a different layer of color on, it can sort of move around your previous color and lessen it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want something to stain real well, just let it sit there for a while.
That's the same how it is for washes when we're trying to do those on the miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
You got to try to get a consistent, even coating the first time, and then don't touch it.
Yep. Don't even think of touching it until every last speck is dry, and then wait longer. Because you may not see it, but your brush will find that one little pool of wash, and it'll rip all the color right off your brush and mix with it, and undo button.
Yeah, that's your own undo button.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
would you mind taking a sec to take a look at the line work for this guy?
Sure thing. Let me just finish this crazy freehand I am trying to do here. Acting as if I might actually be a painter.
Well, you're painting something, therefore you are a painter.
Yeah, I actually used to do commissioned painting for a while.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. But I was just like cheap tabletop quality. Here we go. I gave a little line on the bottom of the cape. All right, so line art. Let me actually click on you so I can see it, because you're too quiet, Noah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that looks really good. I like the hashing in the shadows there.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm trying to incorporate more and more, is doing more hatching and more like shadow before the color. But yeah, and also I've been flipping it to see, like, is there any distortion going on? Does he have the gangster lean going in any direction? But I think he looks pretty centered.
Yeah.
Elle, what do you think?
I think he looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, no, the weight looks good on his legs.
Okay. All right, color time.
Yay!
Everyone's favorite.
I like colors. Except
you
that
don't.
Gray.
Right.
50 Shades of freaking gray.
But then you get to do awesome purples.
I do, and I'm looking forward to it. Purple is one of my favoriteest colors to paint.
Yay!
Because
Purple's my favorite.
it's so fun. Purple and red, because I get to use these colors, and I love this color purple.
That's the Vallejo.
Mm-hmm. I use a little bit of everything, but Vallejo game color, you can't beat it. Just because I come from the school of Games Workshop.
I've got the model color Vallejo, and then I've got the Army Painter purple as well, which I think they're almost the same shade, but there's just enough little difference that I like to mix them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've got another purple somewhere in here, plus my purple wash.
And then there's the Privateer Press, the P3 purple, which yeah.
Ooh, I've never liked their bottles.
Their bottles I can't stand. That's why I transfer them into big dropper bottles, and I love them.
I have their washes though, because I really like their washes, and I just
use their washes.
I love washes. I love having options when it comes to washes.
Their paints, though, oh my god, I love their paints so much.
And then I've got these crazy things for
from I don't know who makes it. Some guy.
Yeah. Oh hey, my Vallejo Super Silver.
Hey, I haven't used the silver one.
Yeah, I used it for some guy's high elf army once. Did everything in that silver, and then I used washes over it on all the armor to give it kind of like a mithril, ethereal look to it.
Okay. Wow. That's got to have been one heck of a bright army.
Yeah. It was shiny.
Shiny and in chrome. You ever seen? There are these. I've always wanted to check them out. They actually make airbrush paints. They're like a lacquer / enamel. Really weird specialist stuff, but they look mirror finish chrome.
Wow.
I've seen that in like spray cans, but I haven't seen that. I don't use an airbrush, so.
I swear by mine. I do a lot of airbrushing work.
Yeah, I've bought airbrushes in the past, but I've always bought the stupidly cheap Walmart ones, so they give me terrible results, and then I end up hating them and throwing them away after like 2 weeks. But I've been meaning to at some Adepticon just go with Justin and try to get a good one and have him show me what the hell to do with it and everything.
Yeah. I absolutely adore them for base coating and blending. Like, the Pigman army is all... Just right now, it's all 100% airbrushed. And it goes so quick. I get all these gorgeous gradients and makes everything paint up a dream.
Yeah, I've seen amazing jobs done with airbrushes, and it's just I should totally learn how to do this. And then I'll just go ahead and brush a Gundam.
Yeah, I mean, even Tom has broken out his airbrush and got his Gundam up and painted. And
did I ever show you my Gundams, Andrew?
I don't think you did, no.
Oh.
I know I've seen a couple of them, and I saw the one that was in the crystal brush.
This is one I did, these... So difficult trying to navigate this camera. But this is one I did a few years ago. And then Zaku that I weathered up a lot. The Mark II there I'm going to do something with eventually. And then down here I've got my current project, which is a Barbados and Gaussian diorama that I will eventually get all the parts I need to finish up and do that.
I got to figure out what I want to do with my Barbados, because Tom gave me one for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And also one of these, the little... Oop, if it doesn't fall off my shelf first. everything is like balanced on top of each other. But then I have my little like RX-8 or little thing that I
Yeah,
started painting, and
it's
it's a
looking really good.
torso.
Yeah.
Torso, no feet yet. Well, there are feet, but no legs.
You'll get it done eventually.
Eventually.
In the future.
The future!
Oh, and no, Alex, since you're not going to be there, and you'll love these. Are these adorable?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome!
What is it?
That's
Oh my
Oh
god!
my gosh.
I love it.
Nerd!
Yeah. You've known that.
I have.
I mean, look at the
That's
random crap that's behind me here.
awesome.
I mean,
Oh my god, that's awesome.
this is only a fraction of the random amount of figures that I have laying around.
Thank you for showing us.
God damn it, those are adorable. Hello?
Right? It's for you.
That's a really cool effect with that brush.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna handle it a little differently, but yeah, I'm thinking doing some nice patterns on the end of the cape.
Ooh.
We'll give it a really nice kind of like, I don't know, like kind of like an Amano effect. You know how he did so much with patterning and stuff like that. It's funny, like I'm not even that crazy. I wasn't even that crazy about Amano, especially when I was younger. I was like, a lot of my friends were obsessed with Amano, and I was just like, his art's kind of, sort of, I don't even know. It's just sort of like really super rough, and it doesn't, because all those people look like they're on drugs, and but as I've gotten older, I've gained a real appreciation for his style and aesthetic and kind of the feel and sense of his work.
Not to interrupt,
Oh, go ahead.
but I'm just doing a technique here where I'm flooding the entire area with antique gel. And the cool thing about the Cova color is that I can wipe this off and you're going to see much of the paint that I put under the surface. You're not going to see all of it, and it's going to kind of take on the shade of the stain, but you'll still be able to still stand out like that. And you can make these cool effects like it's kind of glowing from within, depending on how you rub the stain around. And of course, a lot of this color is going to be lost once I put in the sealer, because the sealant, again, picks up the color, moves it around. So you have to sort of plan ahead and make things a lot deeper and bolder than you would normally do, because with the knowledge that's been kind of wiped away. So sorry, I just had to say that because I was doing that right now.
I also just want to admire your bravery of doing that over carpet.
Oh, I know.
I've got a wax paper covered cutting board in my lap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but
Yeah.
that's still over carpet.
One
that's-
misplaced cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, Em. I know you play Final Fantasy 14, but are you much of a fan of the old stuff, like 4, 6, 7?
It's going to sound really horrible for me to say this, but I really haven't played much of the old ones.
Heretic!
I mean, for as much flack as we get for people calling us like a Final Fantasy ripoff, it's Disgaea that I am totally ripping off.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Like I have played a bit of 6. I've played most of 4, and I played a bit of 1, but it's really like 11 and 14 that I've played the most of. I
Yeah.
love 11.
I remember 11. Oh my, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Well, it's still up and running mostly. They just took down the console versions. The PC one's still going. I'm gonna go probably play that again sometime soon. So look me up on Asura. Random people that are watching this stream, which is probably Galen and Brandon and Ray.
Bunch of nerds. We love you, don't go away.
But yeah, and I played a bit of 7. And I played like 10 minutes of 8, and I just could not get into it.
That's about, all that 8 needs to be played.
So,
Even that's too much.
Gosh, I don't know how they went from 7 to 8. It is like such a different. Well, I know how they did it, but it was just, oh my gosh, it's such a different game. And
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy, none of the games really are like each other.
that's true. Oh, that's so true. I mean, just look at the difference from 6 to 7. Or, I mean, some of the original ones were pretty similar, but they were always innovating a lot. I got the feeling like with 5, how they introduced the job class system, and 7, the jump into 3D, telling like a totally different story, and then 6 was so different because like before that it was always high fantasy, and 6 was more like steampunk, and just I don't know. It's
8 was just I tried. I desperately tried.
I think I only beat 8 because I found a way to break it accidentally. And it was so easy. I just like waltzed through that game, and I was like, well, I might as well see how it ends. But like, if you equipped, I forgot what I did, but if you equipped like a sleep spell or something to your sword, and in a certain combination, like every enemy you hit, you put to sleep. So you just like basically incapacitate every enemy, and then just like whittle them down until they die. And it was not maybe the most. It didn't feel like the right way to play the game, but it was a way that made it super easy to beat it.
I did watch, like, I've watched 2 people play through most of 10. But the voice acting in that just grinds me down.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh Lord, that frickin' game.
And we are getting close to time, so if you guys want to show off where you're at, we'll finish things up. Andrew, you can go ahead first.
Yeah, I have a little bit of, this is probably the second to last highlight color for the non-metal metal. After this, it'll just be a bit more of a pure whitish gray to pop things out, make them shine. Then it's on to my favorite colors. But yeah, slowly but surely.
Okay. Noah?
Well, I'm just... Come back to me.
Alex.
I have, let's see. I have all of my pieces cut from my bag, and I'm not going to show them all because I don't want to touch them with my hands right now. But, and I also have the 2 side pieces cut and dyed. And what needs to happen to these is they need to have a finishing cream rubbed on top of them, which will change their appearance a little bit. But then I need to sew the bag together, and so it will look something like this. And that's why I charge so much for them, because they usually take me about 5 hours each.
They look really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm ready.
No, we skipped you.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how this one's coming out. I'm looking forward to doing more like texture on and patterning on the cape. I might do some. I have this like bluish pattern at the bottom of his like tunic, which I'm considering now that I'm doing this to the end of the cape, maybe switching to a pattern for that too. But who knows? I'll feel it out. But basically, like I would say 85% done. It still needs like some shading and detailing work, but we're almost there.
Good job. And I, of course, have my unphotographable little Dark Knight. So, thanks again for everybody all you guys coming in, and Patrick, who had to leave us at some point, but we'll try to get him in again the next time. And I hope we can have you again in the future, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for everybody watching, and we'll let you guys know, hopefully, more advance in the future about when we're doing this.
It's hard. Get all this together.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.